Pantera were another band that sort of moved metal on into a new place, I guess. The first one after Metallica, whenever the Vulgar Display of Power really set new sort of standards for brutality and whatever.
What it takes, who I am, where I've been, belong. You can't be something you're not.
Pantera, when they were on form, when they had, you know, a run of 3 albums that were all really good, one after the other, it kind of defined a new era of metal when stuff went really heavy, when people are always thinking like, can it get any louder, can it get any heavier? Sometimes it does and it's shit, but Pantera did it, and it was absolutely spot on.
Are you talking to me? Are you talking to me? Run your mouth when I'm not around. It's easy to achieve.
I loved like the whole Pantera thing. I think I just took heaviness to yet another level. You know, and you really love the riffs that they were doing. And there again, that's one band that, you know, took the Sabbath thing and wasn't ashamed to admit that Sabbath influenced them. They took it to another level, made it heavier and everything. It's something that you could listen to and respect.
Pantera kept real metal alive and heavy, aggressive music alive and turned on a whole new generation. I think this next generation of people who are into heavy music, a lot of them, Pantera was their gateway.
And then the same thing when Korn came about in '94. All of a sudden, new metal was born.
I
think it had a big impact because metal was I don't think it's gone, but it wasn't really that much in the mainstream at the time we came out. It kind of like kicked back, and we launched it back up into the mainstream for a while. It's always been a purely organic kind of thing. We all 5 of us get in the room and we just sit down and start jamming, and the songs are written. It's not like we go for a certain, you know, it all starts with a riff.
Korn were the first band to just tune. It was the down tuning. It's just like you tune a guitar that low, everything sounds heavy. You could take songs that you've heard all your life. You can go back and take classic rock songs and put them in Korn tuning, and it's going to sound 10 times heavier. It's just the way they tuned was very innovative. To go down that low, it just made riffs super heavy.
How low their guitars were tuned, how slappy their bass was, how completely fucked up their singer was something that I'd never experienced before.
Lyrically, you know, they weren't afraid to bare their souls and sing about, you know, things that happened to them in their past, you know, molestation, things like that, and really show emotion and cry on their records. I think Korn was the first time I ever heard a singer just break down in tears on his record, on the song Daddy at the end. That's fucking intense. I
think that's how I had such a unique style, because I just came at it not having a clue and just doing what I felt was right.
At the same time, it was also the relation to hip-hop, the whole, you know, the baggy pants, the whole connection to the hip-hop world. You would have thought that metal and rap were like two opposites. They really weren't. Like lyrically, and as far as the whole image and what these bands were saying and what they meant to teenagers was very, very similar, just for different crowds. But you would have thought that there was no place for hip-hop and rap in metal. But yet, look how that worked and look how big it was. So I think it was those three things, the relation to hip-hop, the lyrics, and the down-tuning that kind of gave nu metal its face.
It was ridiculous how many bands jumped on our bandwagon. And all of a sudden, all these metal bands are wearing Adidas and tracksuits and all this stuff in the beginning. I mean, I just watched them and, oh my God.
Cold Chamber were the first band to come out in the wake of Korn playing this kind of music. You know, people started calling Cold Chamber Korn Chamber. On Cold Chamber's second record, they intentionally kind of went out of their way to distance themselves and try some different things and, kind of find our own a bit. But the funny part is that that was only the beginning.
Slipknot have gone platinum and become a viable arena touring entity, which is kind of ridiculous.
One of the reasons Slipknot sounds like no other band is they're undefinable. They take so many different influences, and all those influences are coming out in the music. Whether it's like some new, whether it's rap or death metal or speed metal or black metal, and they've managed like no other band to really take the best of all those genres and combine them into something completely unique that's never been heard before. And I think that's why kids reacted so much. It was just so completely new and innovative, and still is.
There aren't that many people out there now that are doing things or have an image that would, shock my mum or your mum or whoever, whereas in the past, lots of people were shocked and thought metal was a really bad thing and they wouldn't let their kids listen to it. But I think the thing that's changed is people's ideas and perceptions.
Bands like Slipknot have reacted to that just by going completely escapist, arguably really quite silly. You just got to look, really, really extremely over the top in order to make any sort of an impact, because there's so much consensus in society. They say, look, you can't have consensus, let's just do something really, really extreme.
If you look at Slipknot, Slipknot is really the biggest hard rock band right now since Pantera, and the reason why they're going to have a hard time really changing things like that is because they wear masks. People can't personalize with the band, it's more of like an idea.
I don't mind those bands. I don't mind them at all. There's a couple Linkin Park songs I've heard that I think are okay.
The newer metal is on regular rotation in MTV, meaning it's selling bubblegum, Buicks, Volkswagens, and Levi's. It means it's accepted.
Nearly everything I hear now, which I think is musically interesting in the rock field, tends to come from across the water again.
I would have to say the metal scene now is definitely healthier than it's been since the early 90s.
I think there's going to be a metal band that's going to come out of nowhere, you know what I mean? And just really just take on the face of metal.
It's a very encouraging time for metal. There's a new generation of fans who are hungry for true, credible, heavy underground music. They want to find their own bands.